because I'm all teaching English course in the classroom. And the curriculum committee, we just decided that in the fall, I'll be back teaching about composition, build for nothing. And we want some AI in there as well. So I thought the face-to-face classes that we have predominantly agencies. But I don't know if there's another class, and if there is another class, there's more space for 220 than 300. That's good. 301 is easier. So you don't have to do that, you know, try to figure it out.
This reading is sponsored by the Distinguished Visiting Writers Series and the Student Fee Council. Thanks to them. Thank you all for coming out. My name is Laura Washburn. I'm the director of the Visiting Writers Series and the Creative Writing Program at Pittsburgh State University, otherwise known as Poetsburg State. That's the nickname, if you didn't know. And, let's see, I'm here to remind you to turn the sound off on your phones and devices. It's my primary purpose in mind. Okay, so you did that? All right. Award-winning Kansas poet Linzi Garcia has work that has been called bonesaw poetry. She knows the recipe for a good poem: honesty, longing, and a bit of blood. Her work boldly embraces the messiness of life, love, and growing older day by day, featuring flawed characters who swallow their sins, break bread together, and toast to creation. The press release that we sent out says, I'm just going to say that I didn't write these words because it's funny to me. Linzi Garcia is a Kansas fixture.
Oh, that's sweet.
She's the publicist and poetry editor for Meadowlark Press. She's also an excellent book designer, as I know because we work closely together on my book. She's really nice. I like her. I hope you do too. When not working in publishing, she works as a bartender at Mulready's Pub in Emporia. If you go there and you're talking about personal stuff, it's going to end up in the book. Well, not with your name on it, so it's cool. It gives her a unique vantage point on the human condition, like I was saying. She's the author of Cravings from Meadowlark Press, which has like a collect them all vibe to the cover. It's not a blind box, but you get to see the covers you're choosing, but there's a bunch of them. Is there 5?
5.
Wait. Let's do this slowly. All right, so let me see the first one. Okay, this is Linzi with a big heart-shaped cake, and she's licking chocolate off her fingers. I'm going to say that's chocolate.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was red velvet.
And then, red velvet, okay.
Here's my hands again eating chicken wings.
Yeah, and Cravings, okay, and there's also fries on that plate. Tattoo of flowers. And this is the one I bought. No, that's not one. Oh, also Cravings with red velvet cake, about to be consumed. And this is the one I bought, pomegranates.
We all know.
That's what you're reading from. These ones go back on the table. I'm still introducing. Okay. Okay. She's authored that book. You should buy all of them. It's the same book, different covers. Just give them all. And Thank You from Spartan Press in 2018, and is a recipient of the Next Gen Under 30 Kansas Award. Her book, Cravings, has received high praise from writers. Tracy Brimhall, the current Poet Laureate of Kansas, calls Cravings a book of many hungers, of the foods desired at 3 a.m., we saw the pictures, of the places that are rich with memories, of the loves that are holiday, and the loves that last and become home. Kevin Ravis, former Kansas Poet Laureate, says, no one since Diane DePrima has brought such beat energy to a page and as much flair. Linzi's poetry is the blue-white butane flame, the peacock's plume, the guillotine blade. Todd Churillo, author of Disposable Darling, states, Linzi Garcia writes with more guts than the next 100 poets you will read. welcome Linzi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for having me. I am really nice until I'm not, which you'll hear about. I didn't make enemies until recently, and that's been a joy. It's been a new experience. First, I want to thank Pitt State overall for letting us do things like this, as well as the English literature, creative writing programs, however those are combined, for really making sure that these things like this happen. And for all of you for being here. For Pittsburgh as a community in general, how cool that they're so supportive. So thank you to the faculty, the students, the community members who are all here. Hi, Olive. I work for Meadowlark Press. I'm our poetry editor and publicist. So I helped put Laura's book together. Meadowlark published that. And Olive Sullivan here, another local wonderful poet, who has a new bookbinding business that you should all go check out. And lots of others. So I have a business card up there. Grab my info, reach out, check out Meadowlark Books. We are also responsible for Tracy Brimhall's most recent Poet Laureate endeavor, Eat Your Words, which is a poetry cookbook. There are 20 poems from folks like Olive. And Toast is also featured in here. We just had dinner at Toast and it was awesome. I had never been there before. So 20 Kansas recipes, 20 Kansas poems, some writing prompts in the back. And there are lots of events going on, so we're hoping to bring Tracy Brimhall to Pittsburgh soon. Does anybody have any questions at this point?
Did you get
Okay,
the grain
good.
bowl? Did you get the grain bowl?
Did I go? Oh, I did get the grain bowl, yeah. Oh my gosh, so good.
Yes.
So good. I am the author of Thank You with Spartan Press. That's my hand as well. These poems that I'm going to read to you tonight are very different than the ones in here, but I think it's fun to see the evolution. I also did a book of travel poems with Kevin Rabus and one of his other students, Brett Seaton, right after I graduated Emporia State. So, backtrack a little bit about me. I'm originally from Colorado, but I have been in Kansas for 11 years now, and I love it, and I plan on staying. So thank you guys for making Kansas so cool. I went to Bethany College for my undergrad and got my degrees in English philosophy and leadership. And then I went to Emporia State for my master's in creative writing, which you can no longer get, unfortunately.
Oh, but because we have it.
But you have it here, a really, really kick-ass creative writing program that I'm a little bit jealous of, honestly. So I might get another master's and come here. Yeah. So now I work for Meadowlark Press. I bartend at Mulready's. I worked a slew of jobs as a reporter. I did a corporate gig for a while as a proposal writer and manager and marketer. So this is your PSA saying that your writing and communications degrees are very important and very valued wherever you go. As long as you can communicate well, you are a valuable source wherever you go. Okay, you ready to hear some poems?
Yes.
All right, all right. So, I am going to start with the title poem, Cravings. I've had my period 114 times, and what do I have to show for it? Embarrassing stories, a birth control prescription history, and a red perspective on what it means to be a woman. So far, I've dodged pregnancy, though I could have baked 9 babies by now. Now, I crave to make life with my life. Now I want to name the next generation after the last and teach them everything I know about family and love. Instead, I lay next to my husband-to-be, who's burned out by his 4 little accidents, and I bleed disappointment. Thanks. So I was engaged, and I am no longer. So you'll kind of see that theme throughout. A lot of these poems are falling in and out of love, adventuring, watching my parents age, my grandparents age, and me aging. It is a book about paying attention to those things.
about all of the things that really mean something to you. So, another PSA, just go pay attention to the world. Slow down, look a little longer at everything. Okay. So, speaking of children, this is called Accident Child. How many of you are accident children? Yeah. How many of you have accident children? So these are for you. We love accident children. All the best people I know were accidents. Your grandma, your grandpa, your daddy. Your grandma's nickname was God's little dividend. Your grandpa, bastard. Your daddy, little devil. You, my baby, you all call poetry. If you ever think about getting somebody's name tattooed on you, don't. Tattooed bouquet, hence the cover with the tattoo on it. Instead of his name, I tattooed flowers down my forearm. Love's bouquet everywhere I go. Obviously, I like to write short poems, so put your listening ears on. Okay, along a similar frame of thought, how many of you have been proposed to? A few of us. How many of you have proposed? All right. When you propose, sorry, true story. When you propose, I ask that you stand on your tiptoes and dangle that rock in front of me like a dead rabbit in front of a hungry wolf. When you propose, I ask that you do it on a Tuesday during happy hour and buy me 3 drinks and 7 songs first. When you propose, I ask that you make a grand announcement and make everyone wish they were us. When you propose, I ask that you do it better than he did. I might say yes this time. So, when we think of the word power, I think it often has a negative connotation. And I would like us all to change that. Like, use your power for good and realize that you have power and don't apologize for it. So, great responsibility. When I'm not writing, I stare out the window, smile at people and usually their dogs walking by. Not a quick smile and look away, but a meaningful few seconds. Without fail, everyone smiles back. This is power. Thank you. So, I think one of the most interesting things to watch across Kansas are trains. And trains at night are so spooky, and being stuck at a train crossing is like a universal experience we've all had when we're in a rush to go to a meeting. This is called Backbone of America. Train hauls hundreds of bone-white turbine blades, a spine of potential energy slinking across Kansas. Do any of you know who Jason Reberg is or who Spartan Press is? Okay, a couple of us. So Spartan Press is another really awesome Kansas/Missouri press. Very well known. They published these books. And Jason Reberg and I have become buddies since he published my books. And these are his last wishes. He almost died a couple years ago. Thank goodness he's doing better now, but I did think about this. Jason wants to be buried with a maple seed planted in his ribs, so its roots will burst through his body. He wants the tree to be big and gnarly, so we'll see his face in the bark. He wants to keep being busted up. Thanks. Everybody good? Great. I meant to start timing myself and I didn't, so at some point just let me know when, when you're sick of listening to me.
Roll on.
Thank you. This is called Rose. Last time I saw her, we were both sleeping with the local pirate. I wrote a check to her. She asked if it was true that I wrote poems in blood. 10 years later, we're strangers in a faraway bar, both with new men, uglier men. Us, uglier women. I won't say hi. I won't tell anyone her real name. And she won't tell anyone whether or not I'm a liar. Speaking of lies, I think one of the joys of writing is that you can use as much truth or as much fiction as you want. So some of these poems are entirely true and some of these poems are entirely false, and you'll never know what's what. I was hanging out with my mom one time, and so at the bar, and somebody was like, "So what kind of poems do you write?" And my mom whipped around and she went, "Shocking ones." So, to my dear mother, not knowing what's true or not, I feel for her. Okay. A poem about paying attention. She's a poem. A child. Sitting on an open attic windowsill, sneaking a smoke, drinking a Coke, looking out on the street, oblivious, she's a poem. So one thing I like to do for myself is write myself a birthday poem every year. So you'll see a slew of these throughout the book. This is the one I wrote for my 24th birthday. I'm currently 29, which isn't important until it is, you'll find out. 24. Yesterday I felt 16 again. Light, optimistic, perky, supple. Today though, well, today I feel old. Like a 7-year-old Walmart shoe, scuffed and threadbare. Today my feet ache. I am plump and dehydrated. I drink the rest of a stale beer left out after last night's dinner. Today, I feel so old, I might as well be 30. Tracy Brimhall kindly invited a bunch of Kansas poets to contribute to Kansas Magazine. And so I was in the issue that combined art and community. So I wrote about Emporia's First Friday Art Walk. Do you have an art walk here?
Yes.
Awesome, great, love that. Go participate, it's so fun. Art walks. Once a month, our quiet town comes alive to feast on craft and talent. We buzz down the sidewalk, stop one another to show off new paintings, earrings, bowls, and bread we bought from the people we know every other day as the babysitter, the banker, the mechanic, the judge. Our hands full of treasures, the natural next step, a nightcap at the pub. The band gives us the soundtrack of the night. We toast to creation, break bread together, tokens of companionship, our communion. Back home, we are full. We hang our new paintings, lay our new earrings in our handmade jewelry box, make the bowl the dining room centerpiece. Everything around us, the way we live, art. I had the privilege of spending the last 2.5 weeks of my grandmother's life with her. I gave her last bite of pie, her last sip of coffee. It was very difficult and very beautiful. And she was an English teacher and a poet, and so we were very, very tight. So, gravity. I watched my grandmother lose her color after her last breath. But what I didn't see was her purple back, where all the blood settled when her heart lost to gravity. Right next to that one, I wrote a poem for my mom to try to make up for all the things she might be disappointed in. For Mom. I wrote you this poem on Mother's Day. Sorry, let me start over. For Mom. I wrote you this poem for Mother's Day. On a page I covered in juice from mulberries I picked and smushed one by one with my hands, which are your hands, now stained our favorite color. I did this because I'm in Kansas, and you're not, and I miss you terribly. Don't worry, Mom. I'm okay out here. I'll visit soon. Are any of you out-of-state students? Yeah, you get it, right? I have a bunch of tattoos that you can't see. I like to write poems about them. So here's another tattoo poem. It's called Bold. Dennis presses his tattoo gun into my chest, over my heart. I tell him to write bold. Maybe this will make me so. I get a lot of questions about that tattoo. Are you guys familiar with blackout poetry, erasure poetry? Yeah, pretty fun practice, right? So this is a blackout poem, erasure poem from, oh my gosh, Richard Berrigan? Trout Fishing in America? Yeah. Trout Fishing in America. Who would have thunk? It's a novella. Now it's a poem. Wanted. Dear most wanted guy, ruddy, white, clean cut. You walk to work, auto, body, muscular. I saw your picture posted. 200 pounds of scar and tattoo. One to read you. When I am not in Kansas or in Colorado, it's safe to assume I am in New Orleans. I love New Orleans. Olive and I took a road trip to New Orleans. Great place. Highly recommend. I first went there when I did a travel writing class. And there is a wonderful literary community down there. So if you ever have the chance to go, hit me up. I'll connect you with some people. I think everybody should experience New Orleans while it's still around. So I had a lot of writing about New Orleans, and specifically treating New Orleans as a lover, just being so in love with the city that I can't help myself. Worship. Her man moves differently in New Orleans, speaks differently in New Orleans, loves differently in New Orleans. When her man worships in New Orleans, he drops to his knees. He drops to his knees before her as if she were the blessed incarnation of Congo Square's Mahalia Jackson. He drops to his knees for all who built his woman strong, head bowed, calloused palms extended. He hums and presses his warmth into her patinaed curves. Her man gives her shape in New Orleans. Her man gives her shape in New Orleans. Thank you. Another New Orleans poem on that. Me and New Orleans. The morning that Olive and I woke up and left the city. April 17th, 5:34 a.m. I dreamt of this place and its people, of all of the wonderful things we could do. Awakened by a second line, I lay on the couch, smile as it passes. I almost forgot I was still here. With only minutes left before I leave city limits, I walk out the front door to take it in once more. It's just me out here on the corner of North Rampart and St. Ferdinand. Me and that tabby cat. Everyone else is going to bed or still sleeping the weekend off. Me and the blooming magnolias. Fishermen casting their first lines into twilight on Lake Pontchartrain. Me and sweet jasmine air. Lovers somewhere about to make love for the last time. me and New Orleans. Been a minute, I gotta get down there. Got an itch. Also in New Orleans, I saw a bunch of fig trees, which I have not seen around here, but I think you can grow them here. I should grow one. Learning about figs, about people. I want to eat a fig off of your tree, but I don't know how to eat a fig. Besides, which tree is yours? I never figured it out. Still haven't eaten a fig. All right. Fill up. He uninvited me to his wedding. It would be rude if the woman he thought he would marry was there. She doesn't know about me or us. I sent a wedding gift, a heart-shaped box of the best chocolates. No note, hoping she'd fill up and not eat so much of him. True story, and they got divorced. Here's a poem about those enemies I was telling you about. I think about driving past your house, but I don't want you to catch my scent and trail it to my stoop. That's all. Bad luck clovers. I used to pick 4-leaf clovers from the patch in my front yard. With each clover plucked, I lost someone. Family, friends, pets, almost everyone. I roped the patch off with caution tape, stopped letting the children play near it, stopped the gardener from mowing it all down. Here's a poem about one of those losses. Terry might be dead. Lines from an at-home caretaker. Last night, Terry acted strange. Told me, thank you, I love you. Oh, and see you in the AM, but if I don't, it's because I took off like a big bird. This morning, I was making coffee in her kitchen when I thought I heard her shout, as loud as an old lady can shout, "Open the damn door!" But when I went to check on her, she was asleep. Or so it seemed. Terry might be dead. She wasn't. She did die a couple months later, though. That's something to laugh about. Sorry. Another fun story. I was given a little box of her ashes, and took them home. She was in Salina. I took her home to Emporia, and I forgot they were in there. And so, like 6 months later, in cleaning out my car, I find this box of ashes. Like, oh my God, Terry has been the best road trip companion this whole time. She hasn't needed to pee. She doesn't bitch about the music I'm playing. Great. So I just left her in there. So now Terry goes with me where I go. You know how poets like to write about other poets? Yeah, it's a thing. So here's a poem about William S. Burroughs. At the library with William S. Burroughs, who lived in Lawrence, Kansas, by the way. On the corner of 7th and Kentucky, I watch cars turn the wrong way down the one-way from a cushy perch in this glass box library that lurches over the busy Lawrence Street. Burroughs never stepped foot in this library, the library that swallowed his library. But I think he'd like the view, talking shit, giving tourists the bird. During grad school, I got to study abroad in London, and I also had this conference paper selected for a Walt Whitman bicentennial conference in a little college town called Bolton, and those things happened to overlap, and it was amazing. So, here is a poem about that experience. called A Good Hater. In a room full of Whitman scholars, someone says Whitman was a good hater. I know he would hate the way we sit in this swanky London hotel, pick apart his handwriting, his misused dashes, bicker over his loopy doodles of sperm mid-swim. I know he would hate the way we quote him when he himself said quoting is a thing that gets to be a disease. Would he hate how we stay and listen even when we don't want to? Would he understand this is how we love him? Thanks. You have to write a lot of bad poems in order to get some good ones, right? That goes for any writing. Have you guys ever read Shitty First Drafts? Great essay, highly recommend it. So, this is a poem called Ugly. Sometimes it's not about writing the prettiest poem. It's about pinning that poem to your back pocket, taking it out dancing, not letting anyone read it, ripping it off, tossing it to the floor at last call, and ditching it for another prettier poem. Thank you. I worked as a reporter for a while, which is a really interesting job. And I realized looking back at these that all of these are really sad poems about being a reporter, but it was a happy time too. It's very stressful. And when you're a reporter, at least for the Emporia Gazette, we alternated who was on police scanner duty. So if there were certain calls that went over the police scanner, you had to go to the scene and see if it was something worth reporting on. So there are a few of them. I'm just going to read a couple. The reporter on police scanner duty. Snow day. Everyone's tracks are visible if they're going out at all. Nobody murders on a snow day. Let's see. The reporter on police scanner duty. What's important? On the scene of a fiery car accident that left a toddler pinned under her dead father in a soybean field, the reporter flips through her notebook for a blank page, finds, "You're the best thing that's happened to me." She finishes her job, goes to heaven. The reporter skips town, finished. The reporter probably has a meeting right now, but instead she's resting on a lake dock, drinking coffee at pace with the sunrise, swishing her feet through the water. No news here. On the 19th, I get to come back and work with some of the creative writing students, do some workshops and some stuff. One of the things I like to do is write really tiny little nature poems, kind of like haiku, American haiku, little micro odes. So here's a taste of that, and I look forward to coming back on the 19th. Loafing in the park. Sugar ants, don't bite me, only sweat here. I also went to law school for a year at Washburn. Great program. If any of you are considering law school, I highly recommend it. They always need more English majors because we can interpret things. That's what the law is, just interpreting text. But they would throw us a lot of parties. Like, I've never drank more than during law school. And I'm a bartender. So big firm recruitment party. At the big law firm's recruitment party, 10th floor, top floor, attorneys stay late at the office, show students their bar, their dry cleaning service, their trophies, their best view, their teeth. Just a few more for you, and then we're going to mingle. Framed. Walking down the sidewalk, you catch glimpses of her through her living room window. She sways like a cobra, charmed by music that fills only her box. Leave it to the lunatics. We had a full moon last night, and my friends and I like to get together for the full moons. Cross my threshold. Take off your watch. I'll lock the door, turn off the porch light. No more visitors tonight. Tracy Brimhall also gathered a bunch of poems for the state fair last year, and I had an assignment to write a poem about butter, which I did, but then after I actually visited the fair, I wrote a much better poem about butter, which will be in the next book. So this is called Butterfingers. 2 a.m. and I admit it. I love him. I know this because he's here and he wants cookies. In the kitchen, I measure with my heart, scoop and toss flour and sugar with my hands, pinch salt and baking soda, pour a capful of vanilla, squeeze the butter like Play-Doh, mix and knead and ball and bake. By 2:30, he loves me too. This last poem in the book is for all the poems that never get to be poems. So I encourage you to write, even if nothing becomes of it. Just pay attention. Not a poem. Many poetic thoughts will never become poems because they're not poems. Some examples. The way each person at this table approaches their bite of food differently. Him, teeth first. Her, tongue first. The baby, mouth open wide. At home, I only drink coffee from other places, but anywhere else I only drink coffee from home. You can't tell if the girl by the campfire is crying because of the smoke in her eyes or the breakup. He says he is going to read a piece from memory rather than recite it. The blue of the fall bushberries looking alien-like, out of place and extraordinary. These are not poems, and never will be, but rather practice at paying attention. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Lindsay. She has books for sale here, all of the ones she talked about, and including the cookbook. And then we have a reception outside. You have a chance to talk to her, get books signed, ask questions if you want. And then I was remiss earlier in not mentioning that our next event is Writers Fest on November 19th. It's a day of workshops. It is open to high school students, college students, graduate students, the community, faculty, really anybody who wants to come. We'll have Lindsay doing workshops, Casey Hermanson doing a workshop, we'll have something for teachers, and we'll have our alumnus, Cody Schrum, also doing workshops, and then we'll have another reading the night after that from Cody. Thanks everybody for coming out, buy books, eat food, drink drinks.